The moment you stop chasing, something strange happens. They start moving toward you. The moment you relax, life leans in closer. Because desire doesn't respond to force, it responds to calm certainty. Relaxation is not weakness. Relaxation is power in its purest form. When you relax, you send a silent message to the world that you already have what you want. Or at least, you are no longer desperate for it. And desperation is the one energy that pushes everything away. People don't move toward tension. They move toward peace. They don't desire someone who is trying to prove their worth. They are drawn to someone who already knows it. Relaxation is not about giving up. It is about letting go of the inner struggle that blocks attraction, abundance, and connection. Most people believe they must do more, say more, chase harder, or explain themselves endlessly to be chosen. But the truth works in reverse. The more you try to secure love, approval, or attention, the more it slips through your fingers. Why? Because effort mixed with fear creates resistance, and resistance repels. When you relax, you remove resistance. You stop gripping life with clenched fists, and start allowing it to respond naturally to you. Relaxation is a state of inner knowing. It says, I am enough even if nothing changes today. And that inner knowing is magnetic. People can feel it. They may not be able to explain it, but they sense when someone is settled within themselves. That calm confidence is deeply attractive. It feels safe. It feels rare. It feels like something they want to move closer to. When you relax, you stop needing validation. And the moment you stop needing it, it begins to arrive. The world mirrors your inner state. If inside you are saying, I need you to want me, the world reflects uncertainty. But if inside you are saying, I am okay either way, the world reflects desire. Not because you manipulated it, but because you aligned with certainty instead of lack. Think about it carefully. Who feels more attractive? The person constantly checking their phone, replaying conversations, worrying about responses, or the person who is calm, present, and grounded in their own life? Relaxed energy signals abundance. It signals that you are not starving for attention, because your inner world is already full, and fullness is irresistible. Relaxation also frees you from overthinking. Overthinking is just fear, wearing the mask of intelligence. When you relax, thoughts slow down. You stop imagining worst-case scenarios. You stop inventing problems that don't exist. And when your mind is quiet, your presence becomes powerful. People don't fall for words. They fall for how you make them feel. And nothing feels better than being around someone who is at ease with themselves. The more you relax, the more natural you become, and authenticity is magnetic. When you're tense, you perform. When you're relaxed, you express. Performance is exhausting to watch. Expression is captivating. People don't want a version of you that's trying too hard. They want the real you, the one that breathes, flows, and exists without apology. Relaxation does not mean passivity. It means inspired action instead of forced action. It means moving from confidence, not anxiety. When you relax, your actions are precise, timely, and effective. You say less, but what you say carries weight. You do less, but what you do matters more. Relaxation sharpens your impact because it removes noise from your behavior. There is a deep psychological truth here. Humans desire what feels free. The moment something feels tight, pressured, or needy, it triggers resistance. But when you relax, you give space. And space creates curiosity. Curiosity creates attraction. Attraction creates pursuit. This is not a strategy. It's a natural law of human response. When you relax, you stop chasing outcomes. And when outcomes are no longer chased, they come seeking you. Love wants to flow, not be forced. Opportunities want to arrive, not be hunted. Even respect grows in the soil of calm self-assurance. The more you relax into who you are, the more others feel compelled to recognize your value. Relaxation also communicates trust. Trust in yourself and trust in life. Trust is seductive because it signals strength. Fear says, what if I lose this? Relaxation says, I can handle whatever comes. That attitude makes people feel secure around you. And security is one of the strongest forms of attraction. The relaxed person is unpredictable in the best way. They are not reactive. They don't beg for attention or withdraw dramatically to provoke a reaction. They simply remain centered. And that center becomes a gravity well. Others orbit it naturally. Not because you demanded attention, but because you stopped asking for it. Understand this deeply. Wanting something is not the problem. Needing it to validate you is. The moment you relax, desire becomes clean. It is no longer desperate, it is confident. And confident desire is powerful. It doesn't cling, it attracts. When you relax, you also give permission for others to relax around you. Tension is contagious, but so is peace. People feel emotionally safe with those who are calm, and safety opens doors that force never could. Conversations deepen, connections strengthen, attraction intensifies, not through effort, but through presence. Relaxation aligns you with timing. When you are tense, you rush. When you relax, you trust timing. And timing is everything. The right word at the wrong time fails. The same word spoken calmly at the right moment transforms everything. Relaxation sharpens intuition. You begin to act when it feels right instead of when you feel afraid. Notice how nature works. Flowers don't strain to bloom. The sun doesn't rush to rise. Everything unfolds without anxiety. And yet, it is perfect. When you relax, you align with that same natural intelligence. Life begins to cooperate instead of resist. People don't want someone who needs them to survive emotionally. They want someone who chooses them freely. Relaxation communicates choice instead of dependence. And choice is flattering. It makes the other person feel valued, not burdened, desired, not obligated. The relaxed version of you is not trying to impress. And that's exactly why you impress. You don't oversell. You don't over-explain. You don't chase approval. You let silence work. And silence, when backed by confidence, speaks louder than words. When you relax, you stop identifying with rejection. If something doesn't work out, it doesn't shatter you. And that resilience is deeply attractive. People are drawn to those who are emotionally self-sustaining. Not cold, just whole. Relaxation also removes emotional pressure. Pressure kills desire. No one wants to feel responsible for someone else's happiness. When you relax, you reclaim responsibility for your own state. And paradoxically, that independence invites closeness. You must understand this truth. What you are seeking is also seeking the version of you who is at peace. Not frantic, not anxious, not forcing outcomes, but grounded, relaxed, and aligned. When you become that version, things find you effortlessly. The more you relax, the more you allow life to reveal its hidden generosity. You stop blocking blessings with worry. You stop micromanaging outcomes. You allow events to unfold naturally, and they unfold better than you imagined. Relaxation is not the absence of desire. It is the absence of doubt. It is knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what misses you was never yours to begin with. That knowing creates freedom. Freedom creates attraction. So breathe. Loosen your grip. Release the urgency. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not losing anything by relaxing. In fact, you are gaining everything that tension has kept away. Because the more you relax, the more powerful your presence becomes. The more you relax, the more others feel drawn to you. And the more you relax, the more life moves toward you, effortlessly, naturally, inevitably. Relaxation is not something you practice only when life is easy. It is a deep inner decision that you are no longer at war with outcomes. When you relax, you communicate certainty without speaking. You stop proving, convincing, or explaining yourself. This quiet confidence changes how people perceive you because it is rooted, not reactive. A relaxed person does not rush to be understood or validated. They trust that their presence is enough. That trust becomes visible in body language, tone, and timing. Others feel it immediately. It creates the impression that you are grounded in yourself, not dependent on external reactions. Relaxation is powerful because it removes the frantic energy that signals fear of loss. When fear dissolves, confidence takes its place naturally. You begin to act from clarity instead of anxiety. Words land better. Silence feels comfortable. Decisions feel lighter. And that calm certainty becomes attractive because it shows strength without aggression and assurance without arrogance. When a person operates from need, their energy becomes heavy. There is an unspoken pressure attached to every interaction, and people instinctively pull away from pressure. Calm energy does the opposite. It invites rather than demands. When you are relaxed, you are not silently asking anyone to fill an emotional gap. You are complete within yourself, and that completeness feels refreshing to others. Desire grows in freedom, not obligation. The more you detach from needing a specific reaction, the more genuine interest you receive. Calmness tells others that you enjoy connection, but do not depend on it for your worth. This creates a dynamic where people feel safe choosing you instead of feeling cornered by expectations. Attraction strengthens when there is no emotional debt attached. The absence of need allows curiosity to replace resistance. What is free is always more appealing than what feels demanding. Calm energy gives others space, and space is where desire quietly grows. There is a subtle power in stepping back without withdrawing emotionally. When you stop forcing conversations, explanations, or outcomes, you allow things to breathe. This space does not create distance. It creates room for movement toward you. Forced effort often blocks natural flow. When you release the need to control how something unfolds, you align with a rhythm that works in your favor. People begin to think about you not because you insisted on attention, but because you are no longer crowding their emotional space. Your absence of pressure creates curiosity. Curiosity invites initiative from the other side. Connection thrives when it is chosen, not chased. When you stop pushing, you create an energetic opening. That opening allows others to step forward freely. Effortless connection is not accidental. It is the result of allowing instead of forcing. Letting go is not loss of control. It is the return of influence. Peace within yourself does more than calm your thoughts. It changes how others feel around you. Humans are highly sensitive to emotional states, even when nothing is said. A peaceful presence signals safety. It tells others they do not need to perform, defend, or impress. Emotional safety is rare, and rarity increases value. When people feel safe, they open up. When they open up, bonds deepen. Inner peace makes your presence feel grounding rather than draining. This is why people are naturally drawn to those who are centered. They don't bring chaos into the room. They bring balance. Peace is not passive. It is stabilizing. It allows conversations to flow naturally and conflicts to dissolve before they grow. When you are at ease with yourself, others feel permission to be themselves. That mutual ease becomes a powerful form of attraction that grows quietly but steadily over time. Urgency often disguises itself as passion, but underneath it is fear. Fear of losing, missing out, or not being enough. When you release urgency, you reclaim authority over your emotional state. You stop reacting and start responding. This shift changes everything. Actions become intentional instead of impulsive. Words are chosen carefully rather than emotionally. Letting go of urgency tells life that you trust its process. That trust removes internal resistance. When resistance drops, outcomes flow with less effort. You stop chasing moments and start allowing them to arrive. Power returns the moment you stop racing against time. Calm patience is not waiting. It is confident expectation. It says you know what aligns with you will not pass you by. This mindset removes desperation and replaces it with grounded confidence. And confidence, when it is quiet and stable, naturally draws people and opportunities closer. The hunger for validation creates emotional noise. Every reaction becomes significant, and every silence feels heavy. When you release the need for approval, your energy clears. You begin to move freely, express honestly, and exist without self-censorship. This freedom is attractive because it reflects self-respect. People admire those who are not bargaining for acceptance. Validation loses its power over you when you validate yourself internally. Then external approval becomes a bonus instead of a requirement. Ironically, this is when it begins to show up more often. Others sense that you are not trying to extract something from them emotionally. That absence of expectation creates ease. Ease builds connection. When you no longer seek confirmation of your worth, your worth becomes more visible. You carry yourself differently. You speak with clarity. You listen without anxiety. And that grounded presence naturally invites appreciation and recognition without effort. When you are tense, everything feels rushed. You want answers now, results now, reassurance now. Relaxed energy understands timing. It recognizes that the right moment amplifies impact. When you are calm, you no longer push situations prematurely. You allow events to align properly. This patience sharpens intuition. You sense when to speak and when to stay silent. You act when action is effective, not when anxiety demands movement. Timing is a hidden advantage that only relaxed minds can access. Rushing disrupts flow, patience enhances it. When you trust timing, you stop forcing doors and start noticing open ones. This alignment reduces frustration and increases success. Relaxed energy lets life meet you halfway. You begin to experience smoother interactions, better outcomes, and fewer regrets. Trusting timing is not passive, it is intelligent cooperation with the natural order of things. Effort alone does not attract. Alignment does. Alignment means your inner state matches the reality you want to experience. When you are aligned, you no longer struggle internally. Thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction. This inner harmony creates outer results. Attraction happens naturally when there is no internal conflict. You are not saying one thing while feeling another. You are not chasing what you secretly doubt. Alignment removes contradiction. When you feel settled inside, life responds with clarity outside. People sense when someone is aligned because there is no friction in their presence. Interactions feel smooth. Decisions feel decisive. Progress feels natural. You stop forcing outcomes and start embodying certainty. That embodiment is powerful because it requires no explanation. It is felt. And what is felt is far more influential than what is said.